cars, one of our personal project cars I kind of use as a test mule at the shop. So I figured this evening would be as a good time as any to kind of go over some stuff that we've done with this thing. But y'all stay tuned. I'm going to show you a couple new products that we're working on, and some stuff that we can offer you at the shop. So watch it. It's going to be fun. Let's talk about daily driving an old car. This is a subject that I've kind of been wanting to touch on for a while, and I've honestly started to make this video 3 or 4 times and I never finished it out. But there's absolutely no reason that you cannot go out and buy a 30 or 40 or 50-year-old car and use it for a daily driver. With the amount of parts available these days, as far as like air conditioning units, fuel injections, overdrive transmissions, disc brake packages, you can drive one of these cars every single day. There's no excuse for you to have basically a mortgage payment on a $50,000 or $60,000 car. Go out and buy something old, revive something that would otherwise get lost for eternity, and have fun with it and drive it. I preach this. Trailer queens are cool, but having an old car for a daily driver is where it's at. And have some fun, man. There are a ton of silver and beige 4-door late model sedans running around that are just absolutely the most ugliest thing on the face of the planet. And there's a lot of Trans Ams and GTOs and Camaros and Mustangs and Chevelles out there that need help. So why spend that money on some overpriced appliance when you can have some fun? That's just my 2 cents. So since my last upload about this car, this is Sumbitch, as I like to call it. This is the satin black 78 daily driver that we've been working on for a year and a half, maybe now. Since my last video about this car, I've done a full-wheel disc brake conversion on it. I took the Black Widow mufflers off of it. I still love the Black Widows, don't get me wrong, but a good friend of mine right here in Anderson, South Carolina, is making his own mufflers, and they're called SuperFlows, and the particular model that we put on this car is called a Carnage, and it sounds awesome. He knows me, and we had this conversation when we put these things on the other day. I am very, very particular about exhaust tones on the cars that I build, and if I don't like something, I'll pull it off like that. I am not afraid to put 5 or 6 pairs of mufflers on the car until I get one to sound exactly like I like it. And from the first time I turn the key on this thing, it sounds amazing. And when I get out of this little speed zone I'm in right now, I'm gonna light this thing up here, and you can kind of hear what it sounds like from inside the car. But they are badass, and you can get them through us. If you decide, I don't know if you can hear that or not. If you decide that you want a pair, give us a shout, and we can get you set up with them. And I'll talk more about those here in a minute. I almost forgot. One more thing I almost forgot. So the last time I drove this car up into North Carolina, and I did Tail of the Dragon, and they did all the perimeter roads around there that are just absolutely phenomenal. If you've never been up there, you're missing out. But I noticed on the way back, the right front suspension in the car was starting to get a pop, and I'm pretty sure it was a ball joint. So I had to make a call on whether I was going to pull all of the original control arms out of the car and rebuild all that stuff, new ball joints, new bushings, all that fun stuff. And it dawned on me, it's like, if I'm gonna pull these things out of here and I'm gonna replace a bunch of stuff, let's use this as an opportunity to do an upgrade on the entire front suspension. So I ended up putting a set of tubular upper and lower control arms on the car. I mean, it makes sense. They're powder coated right out of the box. Most of them have either a polyurethane or a Delrin bushing in them. They've already got new ball joints in them. Basically, it's just to yank the old dirty crap out of it and replace them with brand new stuff that is also going to help improve your steering geometry and your the flatness of how the car corners. It kind of helps keep your front tires planted flatter on the ground. And too, and I'm glad I remembered that. I would have felt like an idiot if I'd done this whole video and forgot to mention the control arms. Tubular control arms, man, are the way to go. Like I said, coming back from Tail of the Dragon, I was getting some popping and some unwanted noise in the right front, so I, instead of decided to pull them out and just put new ball joints and bushings and everything in the original stock control arms, I was like, let me use this as an opportunity to replace them. And these particular ones are a CPP unit. These are something I had here on the shelf, and I decided to go ahead and stick them in the car because I was just, you know, ready to do it, and I kind of needed to do it with the bushings making noise or the ball joints making noise. But the change in the attitude of the car going down the road is like night and day. The steering's stiffer for some reason. It's much firmer. You don't get quite the rebound as I had before, going over bumps and stuff. And just the overall feel, I mean, the car almost feels like it has a rack and pinion set up in there now. And it does, and it's still got the original stock steering box and power steering pump for the time being. And it's, man, it's a somewhat cheap upgrade to make a massive difference in how your car corners and just the overall ride quality. Highly recommend doing this. Let's talk about headlights. And excuse the bugs all over the front of the car. I washed this thing last night, and then it's being in the South. Man, bugs are your enemy. But anyways, so these are the headlights that I was talking about. Like I said, they're made by a company called JW Speaker. And they are not cheap, but man, they look cool. And as cool as they look, the whole form over function thing, or function over form, I can't even talk right now, but form function over form thing, these are awesome. The way, if you can see there, I'm gonna zoom in here. If you can see the way that's got all those little kind of glass spheres in there. You've got a high beam, you've got a low beam, and all of them. And then those little kind of round things on the left, or on the left and right side of each projector is there to kind of light comes out of those, and that is there to disperse the light more evenly. So like I said in the intro, when you're going down the road, it really makes a nice fluid beam on the road, so you don't have really bright spots and really dim spots. You've just got a nice continual fluid amount of light. And like I said before, also in the intro, I did have to rewire some of the wiring to make them function properly, so they worked like the stock lights work. So when your low beams are on, all you have are the outer bulbs running, and then when your high beams come on, your outer bulbs have a high beam, and then your inner bulbs have a high beam also. And I've thought about rewiring this car one more time to where the inside bulbs also have a low beam, just to kind of give me a little bit extra going down the road, but they really don't need it. I mean, my gosh, man, these things are bright, and there's just really no need for that kind of lighting going down the road when you got people coming at you. But they also make a round 7-inch, so you 70 to 76 guys also have a way of putting those in your car if you choose to do so. So once again, let's go over the muffler selection that we went with the car this go around. I'll probably end up changing at some point, but if you're familiar with some of my previous uploads, we're a dealer for Black Widow mufflers, and I love the things. I mean, that's one of the few mufflers I've ran on my personal cars and my customers' cars in a long time that I'm like, man, these things are awesome. But like I said in the intro, a friend of mine here in Anderson owns a muffler company, and he just recently started this muffler company out, and we've been talking for a while about putting a set of his mufflers on one of our cars over here and letting me try them out. And I am, like I said before, super picky about exhaust tones on these cars. They have to sound a certain way. If they look a certain way, they have to sound a certain way. And he talked me into it, twisted my arm. I took the car out to their place, and I let him put them on for me. And I gotta tell you, man, these things sound magnifique. Love them. They're SuperFlow mufflers, and they're made right here in Anderson, South Carolina. So they're American made, and we can install them on your car, or I can set you up with him and he can install them on your car also. So I'm gonna stop here in a second, gonna flip this camera around. We're gonna fire the car up, just do an initial start. I'll roll it up a few times. I might try to do a video going down the road so you can maybe try to get a sound of it inside the car. Don't know if that's gonna work out very well, but we'll find out later, and through the magic of editing. But let me stop talking. I'm gonna fire the car up, unless you hear it. So if you like what you heard, those are the SuperFlow Carnage, and they are like the shortest one he makes. And if you want to make your neighbors angry at you, you know, that's the way to go. I think they sound phenomenal. And the cool thing about them that I've noticed right off the bat is from going from the Black Widow race venom that was in there. The Black Widow didn't necessarily have a drone inside the car, but it did make a lot of sound inside the car, where this one, when you're cruising, it doesn't necessarily have that same in-your-face sound. So you can have a conversation a little bit easier, but man, when you light it up, it gets nasty fast, and that's kind of how I like it. You know, I need to be able to talk to people in the car, watch their expression on their face when I'm scaring the crap out of them going around the corners, but I like him. You did a good job, my friend, Mr. Troy Carnes. So that's kind of where we are right now with this particular car. And I, obviously want my cars to ride and handle as good as they possibly can, but I also like to test this stuff before we go installing it on one of y'all's cars. So when someone calls and says, hey, I've got a first gen Firebird, a second gen Firebird, 64 to 72 A body, this is what the car's doing, what can we do to improve it? Well, I know for personal fact from doing this to my own cars, if we do this, 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 and this, you're going to absolutely love the car more than you probably already do. So with that being said, we have teamed up with Master Power Brakes, and at this point, Pro Touring F-Body Gen 2 Racing. And I'm in the works right now. If you follow us on Facebook, this would be a good time to do that. We are going to put together 3 packages for first gen Firebird, second gen Firebird, and 64 to 72 A-body GM. And well, I guess Camaro also for that matter, first and second gen Camaro, to where you can order 3 levels of performance, kind of an intro level that will include a suspension package, a brake package, and will come with body bushings for F-body applications. And there will be like an entry level, a mid-level, and a throw the kitchen sink at it level for you hardcore guys like me that like to do like tail of dragon stuff, autocross, maybe even some road racing applications. I wouldn't go hardcore road racing applications with this setup, but follow us on Facebook, and I will be uploading or posting pricing for those. And the pricing will include the brakes, it will include the components for that particular suspension package, and it will also include all your installation costs. The only thing it won't include is if we get into the car and find out, well, man, you've got some bigger issues that we need to address, above and beyond just doing the install for the initial parts. So if you have any questions, call us. We're always here to answer the phones, 864-369-2114. Follow us on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram, Coors Bandit as well. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I've got some ideas in my head to do some more tech videos here in the very near future on some stuff. I've been seeing a lot of people asking the same questions on Facebook on all my tech groups over and over and over and over again. So I'm going to kind of take some of these and I'm going to do a video. My hands are dirty from messing with the car, and get you all squared away. So maybe you can try to do some at-home stuff. Man, those headlights look cool. Car looks fantastic. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, y'all have fun. Keep it between the ditches.